Keegan Murray is the sneakiest star in the NBA. I'll tell you what that means. Plus, Demar Derozan makes Kings history. And this Kings offense is really good, but also really different from the league best offense just 2 seasons ago. I'll explain it all right here on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. Time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off of your first purchase. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. And what do I mean by sneakiest star in the NBA? Well, come with me on this journey a little bit, because I was always watching Keegan Murray play another fantastic game tonight. And as I was listening to Mike Brown and Domantas Sabonis sing the praises of Keegan Murray after the game, you're going to hear from both of them and Keegan Murray on this podcast here tonight. I was trying to figure out, Keegan is special. Keegan is different, but with his demeanor plus his playing style, he's not the flashiest, most exciting, most well-known player in the NBA by any means. He slides under the radar for a lot of NBA fans. This is a problem that he had back in the draft time, right? Back when he was being drafted in the NBA. Why so many people thought the Kings should have taken Jaden Ivey, or Jaden Ivey was the better player over Keegan Murray, because Jaden had this flash and flair, and Keegan just kind of was fundamentally sound while also being personality-wise pretty quiet and reserved. But Keegan, what Keegan is being asked to do on a nightly basis for the Sacramento Kings, how Keegan has grown exponentially from season to season to season while coming in as a rookie and joining a team that was ending their playoff drought and expected to be a fundamentally solid and consistent part of that. He was being asked to do more for the Sacramento Kings in his rookie season than Paolo Banchero, the number 1 overall pick, was being asked to do in Orlando. That's just the reality of the situation. So there's a reason why every single time you hear the Sacramento Kings involved in any kind of trade rumor or trade conversation, it always comes back to that team was asking about Keegan Murray. Because even if Keegan might not be on everybody's radar, even if Keegan isn't the guy that shows up on ESPN every single night with his highlights, even if Keegan isn't the guy that is a household name around the league, Keegan is a guy that every single team wants to have on their roster. And in the case of the Sacramento Kings 100% need him. He is completely essential to the success of this Kings team, right? The numbers will tell you, the eye test will tell you. Keegan Murray is right at the center, not the center position, but he is right at the center of Sacramento's success. That doesn't mean he's the most important player. That doesn't mean he's the best player, because the Kings still got a guy named Demar Derozan who made history tonight. I'll talk about him. De'Aaron Fox, who's an absolute star in this league. Domantas Sabonis, who had his third triple-double of the season tonight. The Kings have other massive fish, but don't let Keegan get lost in their shadow, right? Because the Kings, in many ways, are going to need the best version of Keegan for them to get even close to where they want to go come this season, with breaking that 50-win total, come the playoffs with hopefully making it out of the first round and trying to legitimately compete for a championship or put themselves in a championship conversation. Keegan Murray needs to be good to great in so many different areas for that to happen. Tonight, Keegan Murray, 22 points, 9 of 17 from the field, 3 of 8 from three-point range. 12 rebounds, we'll come back to that, 3 assists, and 1 block. 12 rebounds. This is the 4th double-double of the season for Keegan Murray. The Kings have played 8 games, and Keegan Murray has 4 double-doubles in those 8 games. That's a major deal. Don't let the Domantas Sabonis double-double streak and the amount of double-doubles and triple-doubles that man gets. Again, don't let that overshadow what Keegan Murray does, because Domas is doing that as a 6'10", 6'11", center and one of the best centers in the NBA. Keegan is doing this as a hybrid wing who's guarding multiple positions and has been challenged to crash the glass, especially the offensive glass this season. He's been challenged more than anybody else, and he has lived up to that challenge in a major way, right? 12 rebounds tonight, 7 of them offensive rebounds. And to take that stat further, right, we're talking about Keegan being at the center of Sacramento's success, this new offensive rebounding initiative that the Kings have coming into this season, 7 offensive rebounds for Keegan. The Kings had 15 offensive rebounds total. I think Keegan and Domantas Sabonis combined for like 11 of them. And those 15 offensive rebounds led to 25 second chance points. Keegan Murray is right at the center of the Sacramento Kings, scoring 25 second chance points tonight, which is one of the many factors as to why they were able to defeat the Toronto Raptors 122-107 and get some revenge on the Raptors for being the only team to beat the Kings on their 4-game road trip that they just got home from. Keegan is being asked to do, honestly, more than anybody else on this roster in terms of versatility, right? Mike and the Kings, they're asking everybody to play defense. They're asking everybody to rebound. But Keegan Murray as the wing on this Kings team, and I say the wing, and that's meant to highlight how good he is, but that's also meant to point out that the Sacramento Kings are woefully small or lack significantly in terms of wing depth. It's Keegan Murray, and pretty much that's it, right? Keegan is being asked to, as the wing on this team, be the team's second best rebounder behind Domantas Sabonis, be the best defender on this team who will match up not just with the opposing team's best wing, match up against the opposing team's best player, period. Tonight, it's RJ Barrett. Other nights, it's going to be the best guard. Sometimes it'll be the best forward, right? Keegan has the top defensive assignment every single night. He's also crashing the glass, and I know the Kings' three-point shooting isn't very good right now, and we'll talk about that in the show, but Keegan is expected to be one of the best floor spacers on this team, and he's been asked to grow, and he has, as a scorer, putting the ball on the ground, and he's made big strides in that area. And I think that's actually, truth be told, kind of gotten lost a little bit. It can still absolutely get better, and it needs to get better. Keegan knows this. But look, from the way he came into the league with leading or making NBA history for the amount of three-pointers he made as a rookie and helping the Kings make the playoffs, to the jump he made last season on the defensive end of the floor, to now the jump that he's made this season as a rebounder. Slowly over the course of these 3 seasons now in the NBA, Keegan has shown a lot more of a comfort level in putting the ball on the floor, trying to attack the basket or getting to that mid-range jumper and hitting a shot. Right? He had a couple of really, really nice plays where he passed up a three or looked at a three. It was potentially a good look, but decided to put the ball on the ground, attack his defender. He had one play where he dribbled his way into the paint, into the lane. A couple of defenders flew by him. He was patient, he waited, and then he stepped through and went up for the easy layup, right? That's just a sign of what they say, the game slowing down for players as they get more comfortable and learn and understand and develop at the NBA level. We're seeing that before our very eyes pretty much every time Keegan Murray steps onto the floor. I said that Mike Brown and Domantas Sabonis sung the praises of Keegan Murray. Here's Mike, Domas, and then at the very end, you're going to hear a little bit from Keegan actually giving credit to his brother, Chris Murray, in Portland, his twin brother, as to why he's gotten better as a rebounder. Take a listen.
Keegan was a monster on the other end of the floor. 7 offensive rebounds. I don't know if I ever seen anything like it. Every time he got another one, I was amazed. But he is the epitome of what we say it means to crash. I ask him to do a whole hell of a lot. You know, he's taken the best player on the other team a lot of times, the best big wing player. So I'm asking him to do that. I'm asking him to score. I'm asking him to run the floor and shoot threes. And I'm asking him to create. And then he's got a rebound, not just defensive rebound, but he's got an offensive rebound, and that's every possession, every single game, and he just keeps trying to do it. He just keeps trying to do it, and you can see as he gets older and more mature, you could see his size really starting to be an advantage because he's quick for a guy at his size, and not that he's just big, but he's strong. And every year he he plays in this league, he's just going to get stronger and smarter, and he's not going to lose that quickness advantage that he has. He was a natural power forward, probably slash center in college, and we converted him to a small forward slash two. And so at that size, and now with the strength catching up with the size, and the intellect catching up with the size, he's turning into a monster for us in a lot of different categories, and we need him to, especially on the glass.
Domas, you've kind of been a vet for Keegan over the seasons that he's been here, just his development, especially as one, are you okay sharing your rebounds with Keegan, number one and two?
I don't know. Today was fine, but some days.
But watching how he's developed, not just as a rebounder, but as a scorer, a defender, how, I guess, proud are you, or what have you seen from him over the last couple of seasons?
He's just been, he's listening, he's putting in the hard work, and he's going out there and competing, and you see it every day, every game, as we go on. What did he have today? He had 12 rebounds, he's going in there, 7 are offensive, he's very tall for his position, he's strong, so, coaches always tell him to crash on the offensive end.
Yeah, I think, I've gotten stronger, so that's helped a lot. My brother in Portland he kind of just flies and gets rebounds and things like that. So just watching him and things like that just helped me kind of figure out that obviously just fly and get a rebound. And if you do that, the ball is going to reward you in some way. So.
Today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by SKIMS. Guys, your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy. We all have busy schedules, right? You don't have the time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. Through SKIMS, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside of your door. SKIMS is changing men's health care by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. SKIMS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, the Viagra and Cialis, and their generics up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so there's none of those embarrassing or uncomfortable doctor's visits. You just fill out a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option for you. If prescribed, your medication will ship directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedonnba. That's HIMS.com/lockedonnba for your personalized ED treatment options. Again, hims.com/lockedonnba. The products mentioned are chewable compound products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions do apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription is required. Price varies based on product and subscription plans. Last season, when the Sacramento Kings would return home from long road trips, especially successful road trips, it always felt like they lost that first game at home, or that they just didn't play their best, or they looked a little lethargic, they looked a little tired, they weren't manufacturing their own energy as much as they have to do on the road. And Mike Brown has said sometimes maybe they're too reliant on the Sacramento Kings crowd and the Golden One Center crowd to create energy for them. We just have not seen this team over the last couple of years play their best basketball when they return home from a long road trip. And based off how the first 3 quarters of this game went, I felt like to some extent we were seeing the same thing, right? This kind of lethargic play after the road trip. And it's not that the Kings were playing bad or playing terrible. It's just that their energy, their execution, their focus, especially on the defensive end, just wasn't as sharp and wasn't as good as it should be. Now, this is also, I think, exemplified or it's made more obvious and maybe more uncomfortable and more frustrating for people because it was happening against a team in the Toronto Raptors that, look, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the Raptors because they beat the Kings fair and square in overtime last week. They play hard. The Raptors are missing Scotty Barnes. They're missing their best player. And even with Scotty Barnes, the Raptors are not expected to be a very, very good team right now. I know they're long. I know they're physical. The Sacramento Kings should not have a problem, in theory, defeating the Raptors. And the final score tonight, again, 122-107, will suggest that they didn't really have a problem with Toronto. It's because they had an excellent fourth quarter, which we'll talk about. But it did feel like through a good portion of this game that the Kings just weren't playing their best, and it brought up memories and brought up thoughts of last season. But then, as the Kings continued to hang around and do what they've done a lot over the course of these first 8 games of the season, which is hang around, and then create separation when they need to, it got me thinking, maybe this team is offensively way better than they were last season, and offensively good to great the same way they were 2 seasons ago in the 2022-2023 season when they were number 1 in the NBA. But they're different. And different isn't bad, but they're different in a significant way. And I was sitting there going, like, what is it about the way the Sacramento Kings are playing tonight that is different but still okay? And I came across like this feeling of this Kings offense isn't as explosive as it used to be. Doesn't mean it's not as good, because it's very good. But that explosiveness, that like showtime almost ability of this Kings team offensively hasn't really been there to start this season. There'll be moments that get the crowd going, but compared to 2 seasons ago, right, when the Kings were blowing up the Golden One Center crowds and having these huge shots or these big moments or these clutch moments in the fourth quarter or these alley-oops between Malik Monk and whatever big man was running with him, or the Kentucky connection between Monk and Fox or whatever. And Monk tried for a couple of Showtime moments tonight and unfortunately didn't convert them. It just, that explosive kind of Showtime pizzazz offense of the Sacramento Kings from a couple of years ago hasn't really been there for this group yet. They've had moments, but it's not been the same. But they've replaced that with significantly better half-court offense and a slower, more fundamentally, what's the word I'm looking for? Lethal. They're fundamentally lethal. And a lot of that has to do with Demar Derozan and the way Demar Derozan plays, right? Because he's such a merchant in the half court. Demar Derozan slows things down. He gets to the foul line. He picks you apart, whether it's in the post or just with his mid-range game, right? Now, I do feel that I would feel a lot differently, or the Sacramento Kings offense can be explosive and would be a lot more explosive if the three-point shots were falling. Because once again, the three-point shooting has been tough for Sacramento. They shot 10 of 35, 28% from three-point range tonight. Now, what was good is they didn't get killed from three-point range. The Raptors tonight shot 10 of 34, 29%. So Sacramento, at least tonight, wasn't shooting poorly from three, but giving up a high percentage from three like they've done a number of times so far this season. So that's certainly good. And it's great that consistently throughout this season, the Kings have won 5 out of 8 games that they've played, and their shooting really hasn't been good, with the exception of like a half or a quarter or two over the course of this start to the season. So if those shots, those three-point shots were falling at a higher clip, 100%, I think this team would feel more energetic and feel more explosive and feel more exciting offensively than they are right now. But the offense is still really, really dangerous and really good. It's just slower. And slower isn't necessarily bad. It's not as much of a track meet as it used to be. But it's more of a chess match, right? And that's what we're seeing from this Kings team. And it's affecting the Golden One Center crowd. It's affecting me and how I watch this Kings team, because I feel like watching it, I'm like, man, this team, like, this crowd wants to explode and this team is right there, but it just doesn't feel the same. Well, because it's not the same. It's different. But this different can be good. Now, when the three-point shots start falling again, that's where I feel like we'll look back or think back to the offense from 2 years ago and the Kings replicating that. Because once again, the Kings are top 5 in almost every major offensive statistical category except for three-point shooting. They're one of the best offenses in the league. They're scoring a boatload of points, and they're winning games. It's just not the same. It is definitely different. Today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Bilt Rewards. Listen up, renters. Ever feel like you're stuck in an endless loop of next rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air? Look, it sucks on payday when all that money in our bank account is poof, gone because we know rent is due. It's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards. That's where Bilt Rewards comes in. Bilt is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every single month, pay your rent and watch the points roll in. And you can use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and over 700,000 hotels and properties. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards future rent payments, and more. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Bilt Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Bilt points have been consistently ranked as the highest value point currency by the Point Guys and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's join, Join, Bilt, BILT.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure you use that URL so they know that Locked On Kings sent you. Again, joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA to start earning points with your rent payments today. And today's episode of Locked On Kings is brought to you by Gametime. Like I said at the top of the show, this is the app that you need to be using to buy your tickets to future Sacramento Kings games, concerts, theatrical productions, other sporting events, whatever the event is. Gametime has tickets for you, and they have those tickets at the best price. No, literally, the Gametime guarantee exists. If you find the same tickets on a different site for cheaper than on Gametime, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. But that's just one of many features that Gametime has, like their all-in pricing feature where you'll see a price attached to each seat, right? Or when you're buying your tickets. That is what the price is. No surprise fees, $10, $20, $30 being tacked on to the very, very end on that final checkout screen. We all have been through that before, right? And it actually sometimes change our mind on whether or not we want to buy tickets to go to the event because that $20, $30, $40 can add up. Gametime, the closer you get to the event, a lot of times the better deals you will find too. Gametime just cannot be beaten, plus their ticketing coverage is second to none. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Hard to believe we're getting to the third and final segment of the show, and I haven't even talked about Demar Derozan yet, especially on a night where Demar Derozan made Kings history. 27 points tonight, 11 of 21 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point range, but Demar Derozan's not a three-point shooter. Okay, well, he's hitting threes for the Kings. 3 of 3 from the free throw line, also 3 assists and 1 steal. With the 27 points tonight, Demar Derozan now has scored 20 or more points in 8 straight games to start his career with the Kings. That is a franchise record. The record was held by Chris Webber in 1999, where he had 7 straight games with the Kings to start his career with 20 or more points. Demar Derozan broke that tonight. So DeRozan is a record holder. Again, if you've been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast over these 8 games, I've told you this is what the man does. Doesn't matter how old he is, the man scores. And the Sacramento Kings have brought in a surefire pretty much 20 points a night. And to be honest with you, I don't know when this streak is going to end because he has been getting 20 points with ease. He got 27 tonight, and there were times where I looked up at the scoreboard and went, oh my God, DeMar has 27? Like, what? It just, like, he's so good and so dangerous offensively. And he has big moments, especially down the stretch, but it never feels like DeMar Derozan is taking over the game because he really hasn't yet. That might not be true. He's taken over at times in the fourth quarter of the season, but certainly there wasn't an element tonight in his 27-point performance where it felt like DeMar Derozan was taking over. He just knows how to score, when to score, and does it a lot. So DeMar Derozan making Kings history. Congratulations to him. I got a question, though. Look, it's 2024 in the NBA, right? We have the NBA is in the forefront of technology, right? You see the new Intuit Dome and how amazing that building is. The Golden One Center is state-of-the-art technologically. For teams, right, they have all this access to stats and data that they've never, ever, ever had before, right? They have unbelievable film. These guys know and can break down the numbers and how the guys like to shoot and hot zones and everything you can think of. There are stats and numbers and information on these guys. And DeMar DeRozan's been around a long time. So people know, defenders know what DeMar DeRozan does. There's videos upon videos of DeMar DeRozan putting up that shot and drawing fouls because guys think that they can block his shot and just end up fouling him. And yet, with all that information on the scouting report, still, every single night, guys try to block his shot. Why? He had 2 or 3 three-point plays this evening where he was fouled going up for one of his jumpers, and they hit his wrist. He still hit the shot because it's DeMar freaking DeRozan, and then he goes to the line and knocks down one more for the three-point play. I get biting on the pump fake and the up fake because I would be leaving my feet every single time if I was trying the impossible task of trying to guard DeMar DeRozan. And he gets a lot of young players with that. So that I get. But it's not just biting on the pump fake. It's when he actually goes up for that shot, that turnaround jumper, or that kind of lean fader that he does from the mid-range. And guys just think they can get their hands on it. They think they can get it, but they can't. And they get his wrist, and he makes them pay for it. Every single game, every single time. It doesn't matter who's guarding him. I couldn't tell you how to stop it, but certainly you should know going into games where you're guarding DeMar DeRozan that, hey, I shouldn't try to block this shot. I should just try and contest it and make it as difficult as possible, but I shouldn't try and block it because I'm just going to foul the man, and he's going to make me pay for it. Also, we're at the end of the show, and how am I barely mentioning that Domantas Sabonis had another triple-double tonight? He had 17 points, 11 rebounds, 13 assists. So he's now had 7 straight double-doubles. Remember, he started the season, that loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He didn't have a double-double in that game. 7 straight double-doubles now, and 3 of those 7 double-doubles have also been triple-doubles. 8 games into the season, continuing to lead the league in rebounding, doing better as a scorer, and back to his double-double and triple-double ways. We can't take this man for granted, man. So many people do, but we cannot take this man for granted. But actually, I do have something to it's not a gripe that I have, and it's not really a gripe with Sabonis, and maybe it's like we got to figure something out. Because Sabonis had 17 points, had his triple-double. Sabonis was perfect tonight. 6 of 6 from the field, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. He was perfect. So why did Domantas Sabonis only take 6 shots? Why? I know DeMar's getting his shots up, Keegan's getting his shots up, Fox is getting his shots up. There's only one ball to go around. And I've never, ever, as you know, subscribed to this concept or idea that DeMar DeRozan coming to Sacramento means there's too many mouths to feed and some guy's going to get less. Sabonis was, from the get-go, distributing. He had 9 assists shortly into the second quarter. He was dealing early on. So it's good to see Domas falling back to that kind of instinct and trying to find the open man and succeeding in that area. So he didn't do anything wrong. But if I'm the Sacramento Kings and I see Domantas Sabonis hasn't missed a shot, God, I got to find some more shots for my big man. Domas didn't make any bad decisions. He didn't make any bad plays, really. And it's not like he passed up open looks tonight. He just wasn't shooting the ball. Or the Kings weren't getting him the ball and opportunities for him to score. Because when he did get those opportunities, obviously, he converted. But we got to find more than 6 shots for Domantas Sabonis. We got to find more than 6 shots. De'Aaron Fox as well tonight, I thought was fine, right? 21 points. So, once again, the Kings have 3 20-point scores. 5 of 17 shooting from the field, 2 of 8 from three-point range, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, only a couple of assists and 1 rebound, 1 steal. So not the level of game that we would necessarily expect from De'Aaron, and certainly not close to the best that he can perform. But again, it's not like it was a bad game for Fox. And again, I still think he's trying to figure out how to be his takeover self, and he's taken over games at times. Look what he did in the third quarter against the Miami Heat the other night, right? So we're still, you can tell De'Aaron's still trying to figure out when to be his superstar self and take over games and when to kind of be more passive. But some people have been, I think, critical of De'Aaron because his numbers haven't been the best on the team, especially scoring-wise. But I don't think he's playing bad or playing wrong. In fact, the league should be concerned that the Kings are 5-3 and their offense is this good, and De'Aaron Fox hasn't looked like the best version of himself yet, because it will come with time. And Kevin Huerter made his return tonight. And after missing the last couple of games with illness, 11 points, 4 of 7 shooting from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point range, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought Kevin Huerter just, once again, played a solid game. That's just how I would describe a lot of how Kevin Huerter plays. He's just solid. And I think it's fair to say he has more than earned that starting spot back, and he's holding it down, and he looks like the right choice to be there. So shout out Kevin Huerter. Glad he's back, because the Kings have needed him back. If I had more time, I would talk more about the Kings bench too, that second unit. The Kings are still looking for more out of that second unit. That'll be a conversation maybe for tomorrow or another day, because now I want to hear from you. Your thoughts on this Sacramento Kings win, your thoughts on the Kings being 5-3, getting revenge over the Raptors, thoughts on Keegan, Domas, De'Aaron, whoever you want to talk about, DeRozan making history tonight. Share them with me at MattGeorgeSack on Twitter. Email me, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com, or leave your thoughts in the YouTube comment section down below. The Beam is lit. It's always a great night when the Beam is lit. Thank you for your support, as always. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode of the Locked On Kings podcast. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.